Hey, hello, and welcome to Geeking This. This podcast is going to be all about Comic-Con and how much we miss it. I'm joined today, of course, with my good friend and geek brother, Tony.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, so if we can't have our claim to fame be pop culture experts, we can at least have our claim be Comic-Con experts, because between me and Tony, we have been going to Comic-Con for years and years, probably because we're San Diego natives. I was just looking at, one time I spread out all my volunteer shirts, and the earliest one I had was from 2004.
Yeah, so you bring something up I wanted to talk about. So, Peter, I don't even know how long we've been going, man. Like, the earliest memory, and I'm sure, like, right now you just beat me, because the earliest memory I have, like, for sure I can pinpoint, is 2006/7, because I know that when we were both in high school, that's when we kind of first met, and that's when
Right.
I at least started going. You probably had started going before me, but so I'm gonna throw a dart at the wall, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
say maybe 2005 is a little pushing it, but you have one from 2004. So
Yeah, I think,
2004 to 2020, guys,
yeah.
that's like over 14 years. You know?
Well, actually, it's more than that, because I was been going since I was a kid. I think one of my first Comic-Cons had to been either 1998 or 99. I would
Wow.
always go with my family, my siblings. My brothers would volunteer a lot, and I don't know if you want to go into the shadier side of things, but they
Oh,
would
I definitely
volunteer.
want to go into the shittier side of things. I think that's what makes it so enjoyable. I mean,
So
so look,
my
so your
sibling
earliest memory is 98, right? 98, 99?
98, 99, and on the shadier
Okay.
side of
Okay.
things, when my brothers used to volunteer, they would actually they would have volunteers give out the badges for other volunteers, the day badges and everything.
Yeah.
They used to keep on doing that for a while until they noticed a breach of security, probably started by my brothers,
Right.
because they would get the day badges, and then you would just have to copy and print your name onto just a normal Comic-Con badge, and you were good to go. They didn't have those RF
RFID.
RFID sensors or anything like that. So
Right.
yeah. So I've
So,
been sneaking in, but I've been actually buying and attending in. Before in the past, you used to just line up when each day for Comic-Con,
right. I
and
remember
you could
that.
actually buy a pass. And
The
yeah,
good
that was
old
a
days
good
when you could
time.
actually wait in line and get a ticket.
So
That's crazy.
did you end up doing that for a couple of years? Did you actually buy it
So,
standing in line?
okay, my earliest, so I had prefaced the conversation by saying, the earliest recollection I can easily recollect is 2005. And that's probably when I went with you one of the first times.
Nice.
But I did go when I was like 11, and I didn't know you at that time. And that was with my dad. He took me and my brother and my mom, and I
Oh,
just have
that's
this
so awesome.
memory. Yeah, but I just like okay, expectation versus reality, right? Here's a little lesson for everybody out there. If you don't know, Comic Con is you have to pay to get in. But once you're in there, there's also other things you have to pay for, right? That's kind of like the whole point. Is you get to see all the cool exhibits. Sure, that's free.
Yes.
But if you want to like get signatures or if you want to buy comics or whatever, that's literal 10-year-old me thought, oh, Comic Con, you pay your entry ticket and then everything's like for grabs. No. So I remember my dad going
That
like,
would
man,
be
this is a ripoff.
great. What
I
the hell
remember
is
that.
this?
Like it was like a 2001, and I was like, that kind of like turned me off a little bit. It certainly turned off my dad, but then I met you, and you kind of reinvigorated my love for comics and
Yes.
pop culture. And I was like, you know what? Let's give this a try. And so, yeah, my first few years, because you're probably the person I know that definitely has been volunteering the longest, for sure, of anybody I know. And so you kind of gave me the bug to volunteer. But I remember when I was volunteering with you, my cousin, who's been on the podcast before, um, he was not a volunteer yet. And so we're trying to figure out ways, to get him in. And like you were saying, back in those days, there's this little thing called Photoshop, right? So all I would do, and you can't do this anymore, so it doesn't matter if I talk about it.
Yes, we can talk about this.
It's statute of limitations, whatever. It's not a crime. So I remember back then I would scan my volunteer badge, and then we would just go into Photoshop, and then we would just like delete my name and just superimpose his name. And guess what?
Nice.
It worked.
Yep.
It was crazy, like how much it worked. And I don't even remember, like there was a conversation like many years after this when we're like, can we do this indefinitely? And that's when they started introducing like
Yeah.
higher checks and barcodes, and we're like, yeah, now we got to be paying customers.
That's when
And
they started to figure it out. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so all that to say, if I could preface the conversation, for 2005, 2006, I remember going to Comic Con with Peter, and one of the coolest things I saw, my earliest memory with Peter, special place in my heart, is seeing, I don't know if you remember this, but Johnny Vasquez.
Oh yeah.
We
Yep.
we saw him, and he's the creator of Invader Zim, and am a huge Invader Zim fan. But
Yes.
again, connecting the dots to my earlier memory, I saw him and I'm like, oh, that's so cool! Like he's right there, he's giving autographs, and I wanted to go up there, and I saw it was like $50 pop. I'm like, yeah, never mind. So I just like snuck a quick picture and then went
You
on my
know
merry
what's
ways.
interesting? Autographs used to be free, my man. I don't remember ever. The only autograph I ever paid for was Billy West. They used to be free. Um, a lot of Comic Con used to be free, actually. I'm trying to remember. The first autograph I ever got was Bruce. No, actually, I was gonna say Bruce Campbell, but he was actually the third. The first autograph I ever got, I went with my sister, and we met Gendy Tartakovsky and Craig McCracken, and they
Oh,
actually
cool!
drew Dexter and Buttercup right in front of us.
Wow,
And that's how
dude,
I know how to draw Buttercup and Dexter, because I watched them draw it in front of me.
that's so cool. I guarantee if we were to have a normal year and Comic Con were to be open and those folks were to be there, that thing would have been easy $20.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, I think you can find some people who are nice
Oh
enough
yeah,
and they don't care, give you a
yeah.
free picture, give you a free autograph. But
Well,
yeah, there's definitely you got to pay for
what
something now.
what doesn't make sense? Well, maybe it does. So, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but one of the best memories I had, I didn't even have to pay for. And it's odd to me how, like, Jordan Vasquez, he's a cool dude, very well respected creator, but I wouldn't put him in the top tier of, famous celebrities, compared to other folks who have gone and passed into Comic Con. And one of my best memories is I also was able to get a signature free of charge. Sure, I had to wait like an hour in line, but that's nothing compared to like the special moment. It was meeting my idol. My idol to this day is lead guitarist for Metallica, Kirk Hammett. And
Yeah,
in 2013, I was able to actually like wait in line, and I got a short conversation with him, took a picture with him, which is crazy to me. And this guy, he's a millionaire. He can probably charge whatever he wants. He's worth it, in my opinion. But he didn't. And yet you have other, quote unquote, lower tier celebrities who are charging. And maybe that's why. Because they're not famous and they're not rich and they need to make a living. So maybe
yeah.
that's the calculation.
I think you're onto something. It's more like if they had like a Patreon or something like that. You want to pay to support them. That's why I was like I was fine shelling out for Billy West.
Yeah. Although he's
Yeah,
he's pretty. I mean, at least for sure now, he's one of the big names in voice acting.
he is definitely for sure. I mean, he was before then too, because he voiced Stimpy, so he was definitely up there before. From what I remember from I'll go through your first memory because I was there with your first memory, so I'll talk about what I remember from that, and I'll
The
try
guy
to
with the
remember.
short shorts and Reno 911. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, and then I'll talk about my first my earliest memory, if I could, which was probably Gindi and Craig actually. But yeah, for your first memory, uh, I remember definitely the Invader Zim guy. I think we also was that the same year we also ran into shit. I forget who it was. Either the drummer
Good
or
Charlotte?
yeah, the drummer from Good Charlotte. He was just walking
Yeah,
around.
she's
See,
walking around.
back in the day, people would just it was a convention, so you actually had the odds of seeing somebody
Right.
just walking around. And then that was the same year that we were walking around. Me, Tony, and our friend were walking along. They were in my peripheral. I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. Yeah. All of a sudden, I don't see. I don't know what happened to you guys, but then all of a sudden, replacing you walking by my side is Thomas Lennon from Reno 911.
That's
And,
so cool.
and then I didn't even know his name at the time.
Right, right.
This is before like I even had a smartphone, I think.
Oh, for
And
sure, for sure.
so I was like, "Oh, Reno 911." I blurted out as he was walking next to me. I was like, "Hey!" And then
I
he was nice
I
enough to
remember
give us
catching
his
up with you.
autograph. Yeah,
Yeah, and like seeing, like, I think the, quite frankly, probably the only reasons why like I was able to identify him was because of the short shorts.
yeah, he was wearing short shorts still,
It was
like
hilarious. Think about
offset
that,
his
right?
ankle.
Right. So that's actually a really cool thing, right? Because he's in character,
Yes.
and that's like today. I'm not sure, or maybe it's scratch 2020 because this fucking year doesn't count. But 2019. Imagine 2019, like having somebody in character. I think that wouldn't happen. Like nobody would
Oh,
do that unless if they had like a security entourage.
yeah. I don't
I
really
do
see
miss
any other
that. I do
character.
miss like just being able to kind of be one of the commoners and walking around and just oh hey what's up and like give a high five and get on their merry way.
Nice. Yeah,
So that was
definitely.
awesome. That was a cool year.
So
Go ahead.
that was a really cool year. Anything else you remember from that year?
Boy, okay. What I'll say what I don't remember because
Okay.
that's equally important. Today, well, again, I'm gonna scratch 2020 off the list, but 2019 and before, what has become, in my opinion, equally important and equally as exciting as Comic Con itself is the outside events.
Yes, of course.
Whether you have, the lounge, Nintendo Lounge, or the Xbox Lounge, what
Yes,
have you,
yes.
these are incredible additions and add tremendous value to the Comic Con experience.
Of
So much so
course.
that the gas lamp is kind of like it's a cultural footprint of San Diego, seeing Comic Con people dressed up in the gas lamp.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh. Yes.
I say that because I don't remember in 2005, 6, 7 that being a huge part of the community. And I don't know, do
Uh,
you remember, or maybe I wasn't paying attention, or maybe, quite frankly, Pete, maybe we were just too young, and because drinking is a big part of it, bars and turn into
yeah,
cool
that
little
totally
events.
is.
So I don't know, like what explains that? Do you have like any
Um,
ideas?
well, I know there were back in the day still pop-up shops. I know Funko was still actually a major thing back then. Starting on
Really?
the convention floor, and then they would do little pop-up shops in downtown. And there's been pop-up shops like that downtown. Um, yeah, but then it's just started spewing into downtown, and I think the one year that it really got to where downtown outside of Comic Con was its own thing was the year they were promoting Disney was promoting Wreck It Ralph, because then
Hmm.
in the arcade downtown they had the Wreck It Ralph, the Fix It Felix rather, arcade machine, and that's when outside stuff just like started to go after that.
But see, Wreck-It Ralph doesn't seem like that long ago. Or is it? When
No,
did it come out? 2012.
I mean it is. Yeah, it is quite a bit ago. So yeah, I would say in the 2010s that's when the outside stuff took over.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Um,
What
yeah,
was your
and so
favorite outside thing that you ever did?
easy, without a doubt, easy off the top of my head, snapping my fingers. I can tell you right now, 2014, the year that there was the first year MTV hosted a party at Pickle Park. Okay,
Damn,
this was the
yeah.
first time they ever did it, and they tried doing well, they did do it a couple years subsequent to 2014, but they were never as good. The first one was the best one, guys. I tell you, I'm not even kidding. They had full-on carnival rides, right? They had like a Ferris wheel. They had like the popcorn machines, the cotton candy machines. They had, guess what, free food. And yes, by the way, they had free alcohol. It was just a free-for-all. Everything you could see was free, and it was
Damn.
a huge party. And to put the cherry on top, none other than Linkin Park headlined.
Damn.
And that actually is really special place in my heart as well because, you know, I love Linkin Park and I had never seen
Yes.
Linkin Park previously.
Wow.
And it's really, really, really important to me because, unfortunately, the untimely passing of Chester, um, I was able to see him a few years before his untimely passing.
That is
And
great. That is
and
fantastic. You can't put a price tag on that,
you
I don't think.
cannot put a price tag on that. Just being able to like witness, an incredible artist for free, and by golly, they really should have charged for that experience. Um, and then unfortunately, a few years later, he passes away. But just that, I can just take away for the rest of my life. Yes, I saw Linkin Park, and it was an incredible party. Just everybody was having a feel good time.
That's so awesome. For those who are not in the know, Comic Con outside of Comic Con stuff, sometimes you acquire a badge, sometimes you don't, sometimes you just line up. So how did the MTV thing work out? How were you able to get it?
Okay, great question. Because I said they did it a couple years and it wasn't as good. The first year, free for all. Whomever, even if you didn't have a badge, come on in. That year I did happen to have a badge, but it didn't make a difference. The
Nice,
following year, they did something like a hybrid thing, where badge holders were given priority access, but if there was like enough space still, then they would just allow anybody else, just the public. But I
nice.
think, and then so in 2016, that's when they really locked it down, and you were required to have a badge.
Damn.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think most require a badge now, but some of them do the hybrid thing that was Tony was talking about, where they let badge holders go first
yeah,
as priority, or they get
yeah.
something extra, and then yeah, then so I'm trying to remember the very first outside thing I did. Dude, I can't even
The
remember.
first, oh man, I can't tell you either.
I
No.
remember our mutual friend Justin was really into Dexter, and then he did a scavenger hunt where you get like a Dexter swag bag. I remember
That,
that was outside, and then like he had me go in and turn it in, so he got extra.
oh
So
crap, I remember
that was
that
one of
year.
the first outside things I did.
It's
I remember you talking about MTV. I was like, oh shit! And the next years, I liked to volunteer. More recently, I like to volunteer late
in
uh,
the evening.
in the evening after, so I could have the whole free day to do stuff.
Yeah,
But then I wasn't able to get into MTV those
right.
years.
I
Um,
do remember the Dexter. Well, I'm not sure if it was the same year when Justin was doing his outside thing, because I would have remembered. I think like, oh cool, Dexter, because I had become a huge fan, so much so that in 2013 was like 2013 and 14 were like peak golden years for
wow,
Comic Con for me,
nice.
because I got in 2013. I got to meet my hero, Kirk Hammett, and that was the same year that Metallica had a panel, so I got to see them like probably one of the first few rows, which was like, oh my god, amazing, because they were my favorite band. And also that same year, I got to see the Dexter panel right before the series finale. So you had
Damn,
all the cast members there. It was just like an amazing experience. Just things like boom, 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 like rapid fire. Here's Dexter. Here's Metallica. Here's
nice.
MTV. Here's Linkin Park. It was like, whoa! I was just like flooded with all these awesome experiences. It was just, it's awesome.
I think
I call those the golden years.
I think you're right on the money with that. I have a different peak, but I would like to talk about we'll talk about panels, but I would like to finish up the outside stuff. I think
Yeah.
my peak for outside stuff had to been last year when I scored us tickets to Conan. Just
Oh
all
God.
that was fantastic. I'm glad you guys were with me to enjoy that because that was
Actually,
fantastic.
I
We
added
got
that to
into
my notes.
Conan.
Hmm.
we got Funko Pops because you get to
Yes.
get a Funko Pop at the end of the show.
Yes.
And unfortunately, by the time your Uber got there, we actually ran back to behind Spreckles Theater, and that's where Conan was signing Funko Pops, and I actually got an autograph with Conan.
I did. So I had started the conversation by talking about my earliest memories, mid memories, and I absolutely have that written down as
Nice.
most recent awesome memory. I just I can't thank my brother here enough to be able to appreciate and tell him, hey, thank you for getting me those tickets, because I
Oh,
never in a billion years would have thought I would have been able to like experience the magic of TV, how it's
yeah.
made. And
Oh, you
although
guys were definitely on top of my list of who were for
it
sure.
was just so cool, like man, like holy crap, like this is a real deal, this is a real show,
Yeah.
and just like being able just to see all the nuts and bolts, like there's something special about that. Like, oh, okay, so this is how a TV show is made.
That was actually a funny thing. That was actually my second time seeing Conan. I actually saw him when he first moved to LA, even before he got onto TBS. When he first moved to LA
Oh,
and was still on NBC, I actually saw him in LA.
that's so freaking cool. Yeah, so that was a good year, and I think, gee, now I don't remember what was it. 2019? It might have been 2018 when another mutual friend, Zoe, when the three of us went to go see. There was some sort of like event on the pier on the
Oh
dock.
yeah, that's when we
Remember
got
our
our
free
first
drinks?
Funko Pop.
That's what it was.
The
It was the
Spider-Man Funko
Spider-Man.
Pop.
That's what it was. And they also like, okay, so talk about like awesome giveaways, right? So me, my favorite comic book character is Spider-Man. If you listened to the podcast before, you know that. So I got my Funko Pop Spider-Man, as well as cherry on top, a beer. I think it was a beer or some
Yeah,
sort of
it was a beer.
alcoholic
It
beverage.
was like I want to say a Bud Light or a Coors.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure if Zoe like I think she might have like gave me hers or something like that.
Yeah, I
Just
think
'cause,
she
like,
did, and then she
yeah,
got like a water.
right. That was a really cool experience. I love
That was
that.
awesome.
And here's the I don't know if you want to take your turn now, but I do want to say it so we can go back to it if we don't want to talk about it now. These
Yeah,
experiences I have all have to do with the community and and kinship with family members and friends and
of course.
but what connects it all is literally the bond, being able to be in tight spaces and crowds with different people, and it bums me out because looking for the future, I don't know how much of that we can replicate.
I know, man. I know. Oh my god. Yeah, I've heard conversation. I've been out. I wear my lanyard. Sometimes I have my lanyard for my keys, so I wear my Comic Con lanyard out, and that strikes up conversations with people, like when I'm check out at groceries or something like that. A lot of people, there's two sides to it. A lot of people miss Comic Con, and a lot of people are actually glad it's not here this year just because of the crowds and
Well,
everything.
yeah,
But I'm like, I would take it. I would take me exhausted on a Comic Con Sunday than no Comic
yeah.
Con at all any year.
Yeah, yeah, that. By the way, like Peter's not joking about that. He's a pretty fit dude. You get, for anyone who
Yeah,
hasn't been, you
yeah.
get so tired. It's like running a marathon, especially if you're one of the ones who, like Peter is, who goes every day. Man, it's yeah, it tears up your legs, and then when you got to go to work, it's just like, why did I do that? But it's worth it. It's only
And it's funny. Tony will attest to this. Like each year, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going every day, and
that's
then
hilarious. You do
and
say
then
that.
by Sunday, I tell Tony, yeah, I'm going Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another cool memory I have. Like, just the ride down there. Like, oh, what time are we gonna go? Like, oh, let's go with
Yeah,
the Asian, try and
the
get the crowd.
anticipation. My God.
Yeah, let's put on some like suntan lotion. It's just that's it's a smell. Like I can remember like just the fun of it. Sometimes we would take Ubers, or sometimes we would take public transportation. Oh, that's the other thing that I miss. Just the whole city transforms. So we live in San Diego, and what's really cool about it is how like the whole city kind of just like cosplays, right? Because you got the
Yes.
trolleys that get the cool what do you call it, the what is that, skins? I don't want to call it skins. It's they transform the trolleys to add the
Oh,
different like
the wraps, trolley
the
wraps.
wraps. better word, reps. So it's just like it becomes this whole like month-wide festivity. There's flags right in downtown where you see in
Yes.
anticipation of the Comic-Con experience. Man, I never thought
And sometimes these
2019.
go
I
up.
never thought that would be nostalgic.
I want to say these go up even well before July. Like
Oh
you can
sure,
see them in like June or
yes,
something.
yes,
And like
yes.
even that anticipation, seeing that stuff is like, oh, Comic Con's coming.
Right, right. Ah man, never,
Yeah,
never, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Of course, I mean, who could have predicted a freaking pandemic?
yeah,
But
exactly.
I never thought that like the memories of being in close spaces with fellow Comic Con fans would be something that I would be like,
Yeah,
oh, like nostalgic, like,
missing.
oh,
Yeah, exactly. Isn't
so
that funny?
it's
I
crazy.
want to go back to
Go ahead. Earliest
question
memories
for
for you?
you. I have a no. I have an answer. You said the smell of it. What does a Comic Con smell like to you?
Well, I'm laughing because there's two types of smell, in my
Oh,
opinion.
okay,
There's
great,
the indoor smell when you're inside the convention hall, and then there's the outdoor smell. The outdoor smell is awesome
nice.
because you here. Check it out, everybody. Let me paint this picture. You're walking down you're walking up the path to the Comic Con Convention Center, and what they don't advertise is you have a lot of street vendors. Um, and the
Oh
street
my god,
vendors will
so
be
good.
selling tacos, hot dogs. You get
Hmm.
this kind of like almost like a swap meet type of vibe where like they're selling all these different little foods and trinkets for you to partake in, and then there's a ton of food trucks, best food trucks in the country come to Comic Con, and you get all this wonderful like food and a little bit of the suntan lotion from people wearing that. So that's like a really positive like recollection and good smell. But indoor smells like ass because you have all these different types of uh, people who sometimes don't really have a good body hygiene,
Hygiene, yeah, definitely.
and so they'll have like just bo
Well,
and
that's unfortunate. I would piggyback on the outside smell. I think you're right on the money there. I do have a better indoor smell because I've
oh
been.
you do.
I try to get there early, and usually I get there early for my volunteer shift.
Oh,
So
that's
the
true.
indoor smell for me is mostly like very crisp, frosty, like AC
Oh,
mixed
that's
with
true.
coffee because
Oh
everyone has
yeah,
like a cup of
the
coffee.
Starbucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because they do have a Starbucks right outside, right inside actually. Um,
But yeah, then definitely BO.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe I'll take it back. I think if you were to look at the trajectory, like if you have like a graph, and then you say like okay, 8 a.m. is on the left of the axis, and then like you have like 6 p.m. on the right of the axis. I think as as the time progresses, you can see
Yes.
like a curve upwards, and then it just
Hmm.
kind of peaks at like 6 p.m. in terms of like foul smells. But in
Yes.
the morning,
Oh,
yeah,
it
it's
must
pretty cool.
be
There's
noon.
these tree smells. That's
I can
hilarious.
smell it in
You
the
can
air.
say that's a funny ass joke. Oh man, yeah, that's a good one. And even the
Man.
smell of like the packaging, I think, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
you're right.
because like they sell comics obviously, and it's that kind of new paper smell.
Oh,
Like
that's so good.
in the morning, man.
That's great smell. Um. Yeah. So yeah, that was a good question. I just wanted to cover that
That
for
was
people who haven't
awesome.
experienced Comic Con. What year would you say? I would like to talk about panels, but first I want to ask, what year would you say did you stop going to panels?
Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I want to say maybe 2018, because
Nice.
that's when like it got ridiculous with Hall H, which for anybody who doesn't know, Hall H represents like the biggest and the baddest of the attractions for like TV shows, movies, whatever. Like just the biggest ones. Like that's where you have The Walking Dead. That's where you have like Batman versus Superman.
Heck yeah.
Um, and so it just kind of got ridiculous because I remember maybe it was 2018. I remember one memory where I was walking with you and my cousin Edgar, and we saw this line for Hall H
Yes.
extend like I know this is an exaggeration, but it damn nearly looked like it was touching like the bottom of the Coronado Bridge. And for all those people who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, that's easy a mile long, if not more, from the convention center to the bottom of the Coronado Bridge. Man, it's gotta be way more. And so I was just like thinking, like, man, that's pretty disappointing. Like, that's ridiculous. And then people waiting in line overnight. I get it. It's cool to see your favorite panel, but I'm not so sure if it's worth sleeping there
No,
just to see a panel.
definitely not. And I think they mitigated that. You don't really have to sleep in line. Mostly people sleep in line to catch the first thing in the morning, I guess now.
Mm.
But now you actually get like a placeholder. The security guards give out like a placeholder tickets for people who are waiting in line or even overnight. So you don't even have to do that anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I think that's kind of like what made me go, and
Yeah,
actually to expand on that question, here, let me ask you this. I'll flip it around, and
sure.
it can be a no. Is there a time frame, a year, when you kind of started shifting your attention away from the heart and center of Comic Con, i.e., the convention center itself, and said, you know what, I think I'm going to focus my efforts on the outside stuff.
I think you're right. I think it was 2018, 2017, something about that shift there. Probably just more popularity. They're probably selling more tickets than they should have, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah,
those are the years that I hardly did the convention floor either.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I still go to panels. I don't do Hall H anymore.
sure,
I did a lot of the panels that were actually in the hotels, or
yeah.
sometimes I do Ballroom 20, which is a little bit smaller, and I did that all the way up to last year. But yeah, definitely I stopped doing the whole of the conventions floor definitely by like
I'm not even sure
2017.
if in 2019, last year, I can't recall if I had even gone inside. I think that might have been the year where I just exclusively
So
did outside things.
I
And I
think
had
I
just as
think
much
that's a
fun.
good call. I think because we've done it so many times. I
So
mean,
many times.
if you're going into Comic Con brand new, yeah, definitely experience the floor. Take one day to experience the floor. I would say
For sure.
that was the thing that's you definitely need multi days for Comic Con because you can't experience everything. Definitely take one day to experience the floor, and then everything all the other days do other things because it it takes a minute there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think like by that time last year I was just like, you know what, like nothing really attracts me or calls my name to the inside stuff, and I've been there like so many times that at this point I'm just like, let's see what's outside because there's some really cool, fun stuff.
Let's see what else is going on.
I
So
remember actually I want to say 2017 it was when one of the coolest panels I saw. I'm not sure what I'll call it a panel, just a little booth where people were signing copies of whatever you brought them. It was the Workaholics little booth,
nice. Oh
and that was
my god.
outside. That was outside.
Those
You
were
know?
the Comedy Central things were the some of the things I didn't get to, but then you were telling me about. I was like, oh man, that sounded awesome. And then isn't that the same year you saw Kay and Peele?
Oh, you're right. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
See,
Jeez.
so many like that's what I'm saying. Like it almost seems like it flips, where you have more incredible things to participate in on the outside than on the
Oh yeah, no, totally.
right. So that's kind of like my memories from like the early years to the later
Cool.
years. And now we're in this weird year,
We're
man,
in weird phase. Yeah,
where
totally.
it's Comic Con at home, and I don't. I looked at the schedule,
Yes.
and you know, there's like maybe two things that were like, oh, that's interesting, but I don't know if that's a consequence of just is it because I'm not interested in this stuff anymore, or is it just because did they actually tone down like the awesomeness? I don't
I
know because
think
there's really
the
not too much.
awesomeness is toned down, but I feel like that's because, well, I mean, everyone's stuck inside, but I guess certain people have other stuff going on, so
Yeah.
maybe it might be harder to construct a at-home panel with other people who are busy doing other stuff. So maybe
Do you think
that's why.
but like for example, like can you and I might be mistaken here, and everybody can like roast me when we post this, but do you feel like there's any like top celebrity tier panels, like anything that's like whoa, like I feel
Well,
like there's like nothing that's like huge. I
the
might
only
be
one
wrong.
I'm excited for is actually we're recording this on Comic Con at home Saturday. The only one I'm excited for is at 3 o'clock is the Bill and Ted Face the Music panel with Keanu Reeves, Alex
That's pretty
Winter,
big.
and then it's gonna be moderated by Kevin Smith. So that's the perfect storm for me, actually.
That's actually really cool. Yeah. Oh, talking about Kevin Smith, that's just something that kind of becomes like a staple of Comic Con. I can every time I go to Comic Con or I think back on Comic Con in terms of like the outside by the pier, I
Kevin
think
Smith is
like
there.
Kevin Smith on that boat. You know
Yeah,
what I'm talking about?
exactly.
That huge yacht where he has also
IMDb
the.
boat.
That's right. See, like we both can just be like, oh yeah, like he's just like a part of the scenery.
Oh my god, yeah. And then last year, I ran into Jason Mewes, which was a triumph for me too. So that was really cool.
By the way, that was also the last year when you and I ran into the creators of Rick and Morty. Remember
Oh
that they
my
were on the little
god.
golf cart?
Oh, that was so perfect too. Oh,
That was
I would
really
say
cool.
Adult Swim's doing their panels. I think it might be today. They're doing their panels on their Twitch, and they're doing a Rick and Morty panel and a Robot
That's
Chicken
awesome.
panel. So that
Actually,
stuff's probably pretty cool.
you know what? Wasn't it also last year when we got to go into the Adult Swim little kind of
Yes.
carnival thing?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It was
Yep.
last year.
Yes.
Well, I remember waiting in line forever, but once we got in, we got to play some games. It was pretty cool. I won some
Nice.
prizes. I remember going back in line, back in line, back in line to try and win the stupid inflatable shark or whatever it is I won.
Yeah. I'm
Just
glad you guys did that. And then that we caught the last of the Rick and Morty panel. We got to
right.
see them from afar and see them leave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just glad that we had the Comic Con we did last year, because then this
That's
year had.
true. That's true. If only we had known, we probably would have done more. But I think we
We
kind
did
of
a
did
lot
a lot. Yeah.
for sure.
So back
Um,
to the Comic
uh,
Con at home because you
yeah,
were
what?
talking about what you're looking forward to.
Uh,
Um, Go
Mostly
ahead.
it's the Bill and Ted one. There is another one that I watched yesterday. For Justin Roiland's new series on Hulu called Solar Opposites. That one was pretty cool. You can actually catch that on Hulu. You can watch that one right now. That one's pretty cool. Just to see the whole
Wait,
about
was the
that.
Solar Opposites? Was that like for what season 2 or something? Is that what the
Yeah,
title?
yeah, season 2 coming out.
Oh, what? I didn't know they're doing
Yeah,
that.
that one's pretty cool to see the voice actors. And that one was pretty high quality. All the voice actors had like their polar opposite backgrounds, so it was pretty funny to see that in them in the animated world. Just some of these panels, you can see that there's definitely some technical issues, so it's that's not
Oh,
so fun.
that's hilarious.
I did catch the Archer panel. That was pretty cool. Um, yeah, there's a lot of them. I think we're just like me and Tony are doing. We're just kind of catching up on. What about the panels you saw?
Well,
Or
there's a panel that came out yesterday that I still need to watch.
cool.
Probably when I'm done with this. So, and this is a non-traditional episode of our podcast because we're talking about memories.
Oh,
But
nice.
in our traditional format, we would do a Virgin Years segment, and
Oh,
so I'll
yes.
tie
Let's
it
go
in.
into that now. Yeah, great.
Yeah, let's just pop surprise Virgin segment special edition, Comic Con edition. So, and it ties in with Comic Con. There's this show that I dare say is probably the best show I've seen in years.
Damn.
Like just absolutely, it tops every other Virgin Years, and it
Ah,
puts them to shame. Like this is just it's I can't hype it enough. I kid you
nice.
not. And shame on you, Apple. I'm wagging my finger at you for not marketing it enough because I almost like just did it out of sheer let's see what the heck this is. I just threw it on one day just because I kept seeing it on my splash
Oh,
screen, but it was so the marketing was like ugh. I just didn't like the tile screen. It just looks stupid. But I threw it on. Probably the best decision I made this year. show's called Mythic Quest. You heard of it?
Oh yes, of course. So I got Tony into It's Always Sunny in
Yes.
Philadelphia, and that stars our good friend, the guy who plays Mac. I can't remember his name right now. Sorry,
Rob
but oh,
Mc,
thank you.
McEnany.
And then
Yeah.
he's doing this
Yeah.
Apple show, which I don't have Apple TV, called Mythic Quest. Awesome, that's so great. Did you? Is it the whole season or only some episodes?
I saw the whole season, and what they do also is because Rob is like an incredible genius. He actually did this special edition pandemic episode. So he just because
Oh
he's
my
so
god!
awesome, he just threw an extra episode. Which, by the way, everybody, when you hear what's the word I'm looking for? When you hear uh, pandemic episode, you kind of think lower in quality, but actually it's probably like better than like one of the
Oh my
normal like film shows. Hold on, give me 1 second. Right here.
god! Okay, no worries.
One
Um,
second.
I'll
Can you
keep it
still hear me?
conversation. Yeah, I can stay here.
Okay, actually, in that case, I can still talk. So this show, I'm hyping it so much because by the way, it also another producer of the show is Charlie Day.
Oh, they always write and produce together. That's so funny.
And okay, so synopsis. It's about a video game company that makes a makes this video game called Mythic Quest. That's what it's about. And in typical Robin Charlie fashion, all the characters are really egotistical, like maniacs.
Great, great.
But it adds another dimension and another layer because one thing that Sunny has, and I love that show. Don't get me wrong, it really is one of my favorite shows now. It it's jokes, punch, punch, punch. Punchline here, punchline there, and it's great. It just keeps you going. But I'm not sure if you would call Sunny like an emotional show,
Oh
something that
no.
has like
Oh
where
no.
you kind of
Definitely
build
not.
this bond with the characters. I don't think you could call it that.
No,
But this show, as like as crazy ego heads as they are, you still root for them in an odd way,
nice.
and you still build this sense of like camaraderie with this cast. A plus cast. By the way, one of the actresses on the show, actually, she is a real voice actress for video games.
Sweet.
Um, and let's see, I'm looking her up. It's a damn shame I don't know off the top of my head, but for Horizon Zero Dawn, which
Oh,
is
she's
also one of
the
my
main
awesome.
character.
Yeah. So
Oh, I forget
her
her
name
name
is
too.
Ashley Burch is her real name,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and she plays Aloy in Horizon. So she's like an
Nice.
actual, like video game.
Yeah, they actually partnered up with back at E3 2019. Rob did come out and promoted the show, and it was during Ubisoft's presentation. So they actually partnered up with Ubisoft,
Oh, that's
so
incredible.
Rob could learn about video game
The
making.
gaming industry.
And yeah, that's probably where they got some of their voice actors as well.
So anyway, this show is just amazing, and I know it's unfortunately only available on Apple, but I did preface the conversation by saying shame on you because um if it wasn't for me just having access to Apple TV and just checking it out every day and just I see it there, I'm like, it looks stupid, even though it has Robin. I love Robin, it kind of looks stupid. But
Yeah,
one day I just threw it on, I was instantly hooked.
that's
And
awesome.
I haven't seen commercials for it. Sounds like you have, but I haven't.
No, that wasn't even a commercial. That was just E3. I didn't. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it since then.
I turned my friends at work onto it, and they gave me the same exact feedback. We're like, "Are you sure this
Sweet.
is a good show?" I'm like, "Trust me," because they also kind of got the same vibe that it's kind of stupid. But then they came back the next day and like, dude, I watched like 4 episodes at once. It's so hilarious, like the funniest show I've ever seen.
That's
So
great.
after this show ends and we end recording, I'll help you. I'll find a way to get it, Peter.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks. I was gonna say, do you think Apple TV is worth it?
Actually, you know what? Yes. They actually like I find myself watching Apple TV more than Hulu or Netflix.
Ah, that's interesting. Do you
Like
need you
they
have to have something Apple to watch it, or you can just watch it on a computer, huh?
you can watch it on your computer, on your phone, you can watch it on your Roku. It's weird
Oh,
because I
really?
have I have two Roku TVs at home, and for some odd reason, and I haven't been able to figure this out, Apple TV is only supported on one of them. I think it's like a licensing thing.
It's probably an older one than
Right.
Roku. So I'll have to
Well,
check.
actually, yeah, just check and see if it's. You'll find it immediately. I just typed in Apple TV into the app search, and then it came up on one TV, and it didn't come up on the other. But in any case, like I said, you can watch it on desktop, laptop, whatever.
All right. Well, damn, that's a good one.
Oh, by the way, sorry everybody here. I'm being a spaz here. The reason why I brought it up to begin with Mythic Quest is not just to like talk about it, but they're doing a panel called Women of Mythic Quest, and they
Oh,
did that panel
cool.
yesterday. Yeah, and so I'm dying to see that.
So it's just all the cast, the women
It's
cast.
the cast and the writers too.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to streaming that. There's another one that's caught my interest. I wouldn't say I'm excited about it as the Mythic Quest panel, but definitely I want to check it out. Is I guess The Walking Dead has a new spin-off
Yeah,
series called World Beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
I want to see that just because I'm curious to see what they do with that because it's
So,
supposed to be 10 years after.
would this would have nothing to do with the comics then, right?
The only person I could ask that to would be my brother, because he's a freaking nerd and he knows everything there is to know about The Walking Dead. But I can't
Right.
answer that.
Yeah, I wonder.
I would
Um,
suspect no, but I mean at the same time,
I would suspect no. I would suspect they're going off their thing.
their
And what's
own.
interesting is yeah, they're doing like a Game of Thrones because the next Game of Thrones is going to be a prequel. And
What?
well, actually no, that they have books to go off of that one because there was some prequel stuff in the books that they can go off of. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but this is gonna. I don't think this is gonna be based on the comic book at all, which
Got
will
it.
be
Got it.
interesting to see. So I have a panel for you that ties into a Virgin Years also.
Ooh, yes.
That is a panel that already happened. So it's the when we do our Virgin Years and when we do Geeking This, we try to one up each other and try to hype up the things we talk
Yeah.
about.
Right. Right.
The one I'm thinking about was the New Mutants. Are you aware of the New Mutants, sir?
So only from Reddit comments, and what I mean by that
Oh,
is New Mutants is coming out, and that's it.
yeah. So
That's
it's
it.
gonna be the last of the last of the last Fox produced X-Men comic book movies.
I thought that
The
was
New Mutants.
the Phoenix or whatever. I thought that was the last
Yeah.
one.
I mean, yeah. The Phoenix was definitely the last of the X-Men franchise, but New Mutants does tie in with the X-Men, of course, sort of a spin-off, as you would like Deadpool or
Huh.
something. So it is still part of a. So this is the last of the Fox-based movies that are coming out, and the trailer is out now. They had a little panel discussing it, and yeah, I would
That's
just check
interesting.
out New Mutants. It's gonna be I don't know. I hope it doesn't end with something. It's gone through several refilms, reshoots. So hopefully the ending doesn't end on a cliffhanger because I'm sure they were trying to make this into a franchise as well. But it's gonna be pretty cool, and a lot of the New Mutants do tie into X-Men.
So, is it confirmed that it's the end of the Fox mutants
Well,
storyline?
I only say that because this is the last Fox-based one produced. The next that will follow that might have Fox and Disney's names on it would are that's going to be them together. This is the last with only solely Fox's name under it.
So I wonder if that would be odd,
I
huh?
don't
If
know.
like they were to like to do a sequel, like but with a different team behind it, that would be odd. If it's successful, I don't
A
know.
lot of people are saying just fucking use it all. Use Deadpool.
Right.
Use that's what everyone's saying. Actually, Deadpool's creator, I can't remember his name, but the comic book writers who created Deadpool, he's also doing a Snake Eyes comic as well for GI Joe. He was on a panel on Thursday, I believe, Thursday or
Oh,
Friday, and he was fucking bashing Disney. He was like, why not use Deadpool? Deadpool hasn't been used for anything, hasn't been used for cartoons, video games, nothing since Disney bought it. And he was just bashing them, like, yeah,
whoa.
just use these properties.
Yeah. Right. Right. I'm curious. Do you have like a brief synopsis? Like, okay, so it's related to X-Men, but not really. Like,
So it is related to X-Men. It's a darker tone of sort of X-Men. It is sort of like in Logan how his daughter came from that sort of hospital where
yeah,
these new mutant experiments were being produced. It's
yeah.
kind of like that, but set in and it's like an asylum. So it's gonna be like a X-Men's take on American Horror Story. I would like to say.
Oh wow.
It's gonna be
It,
much darker. The trailers definitely suggests that, and they're gonna battle their way out of this sort of a human-made asylum.
are these characters comic book canon characters?
Yes, they are. They're
Whoa,
strictly taken from comic book. They have links to X-Men. Actually,
whoa,
like some direct links, some are actually family of X-Men members. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
sweet. That is actually exciting. Oh, see, all right, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, and then it's just the novelty of it. Also, I'm wondering how it's gonna come to fruition. I don't know if it's gonna come actually in theaters. It might be just
Mm,
a video on demand thing. I feel like most likely. So
sure,
that's gonna be interesting to see how we can see it, even.
right, right on. Well, so I don't know if you wanted to add anything else, but I kind of I went off a lot, and I talked a lot about my
no,
memories
no, I
and
think we're good. I do have a watch list of San Diego Comic Con stuff you can watch that have either the basis of Comic Con in its story or it's just sort of a backdrop. So one where it's sort of the backdrop is I don't know if you remember in the beginning of Paul, they actually go to Comic Con.
yeah, it's one of the coolest movies and coolest
Yeah,
scenes. And
I
yeah,
love
what about
Paul.
it?
Paul's great. So they actually go to Comic Con there. So these are things you can watch that sort of get you in the mood of Comic Con if you're
Oh,
missing it like me and Tony are. So that was really cool. And Paul, because I just
maybe
put
I'll
on
watch it
Paul
tonight again.
the other day, and then
Yeah.
like I didn't know this Comic Con connection at all. I totally forgot about the went to the
Oh,
convention. So it was great to see that. So I was like, ah, I had totally freaking member berries after that.
member.
Um, and then so another one that's more directly based on Comic Con, you have to watch the Mergen Spurlock documentary, Comic Con A Fan's Hope. That one's really good. It talks about a couple comic uh, artists who are amateur, who are building up a portfolio, and they actually go to the artist showcase there to at Comic Con. You can actually show your portfolio to actually
Mhm.
comic books companies, and they can hire you or maybe just get in contact with you. So you see two artists do that. You see a lot of cosplayers, and it's just a really good Comic Con documentary. On the flip side of that, watch Doug Benson's parody Chronicon, which is just Doug Benson fucking around at Comic Con, which is awesome. Which I think gets a more real look at what goes around at Comic Con.
Is that a
Um,
movie
that is a
from Doug
movie.
Benson? No
It's
way.
called Doug Benson's
Chronicon?
Chronicon New Dope. What Doug Benson loves to
No
do is
way.
make parodies of Morgan Spurlock's movies. So he had Super Size Me. So Doug Benson had Super High Me, and then he
Super
had
high me.
Chronicon after this one. So I would definitely suggest watching those.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love Doug Benson. He's hilarious.
He is hilarious, and it's I think he shot that around. I think he shot that around the height, as we were saying, around like 2014 or
Oh, the
something. So
peak.
yeah, it's funny to
Is
see
is that
Comic
kind of
Con.
like? Is that kind of like mockumentary? I guess. Just walks around with the camera showing you like what it looks like. Is that
Yeah,
what?
and also partaking in reefer and stuff,
Oh, that's
and,
awesome.
and
Right
just
up my
having
alley.
and just being funny as Doug Benson is. What's funny
Sweet.
is he runs into Patton Oswalt, he was
Oh,
wearing like a ski mask on the convention floor.
hey,
So
talk about scenery. I
yeah,
feel like well, maybe not him, but certainly there's a guy I feel like I always see in Comic Con, and his name is Brian. How do you pronounce his last name?
Brian.
Pasone?
Pasone, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I always see that guy walking around Comic-Con.
I've met him. When I met him with my brother, we were asking him, "Hey, is Patton around?" He was like, "Yeah, he's still around here somewhere." So we always run into him. He's always hilarious as well.
Yeah.
And there's I think a lot of people are saying celebrities still go and are still among us in Comic-Con. They're probably just undercover,
Yeah.
like
Wearing
Patton
cosplay.
is. Yeah, so it's pretty funny to see that.
Awesome. Well, that's that. I gotta check that one out. That sounds right up my alley. That sounds hilarious.
So yeah, that's probably gonna do about us. That was
Yeah.
nice going down a nostalgia
Memory lane.
lane there. Yeah, definitely. And there's probably stuff we forgot to mention, but it's
For sure.
That's how memory works.
Well, when you've been doing this, like I said, over 15, 14 years now, like it's easy to forget. But I'm glad we can share, and I really mean I'm glad we can recollect, like together collectively. Oh yeah, we both experienced that same thing. It was awesome.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm glad we had those experiences. Really quick.
Yeah.
Hopes for 2021 Comic-Con.
Man, that's a $1 million question. Doesn't it depend on the vaccine?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. So let's just assume that we do have a Comic-Con 2021 rather.
Okay.
And then maybe that's with or without social distancing. Probably with, I would imagine at this case. How do you see that going, or what would your hopes be for Comic-Con 20?
Well, you know what the funny thing is, because we were talking about like how awesome the outside stuff is. I could see like a way in which that could work. I'm not gonna say like I have the solution or anything, but certainly within CDC guidelines, I'm sure that there can be something to be said about doing Comic-Con outside in a safe and responsible way, with or without the vaccine.
For sure.
So that could work. I'm not so sure about the inside. I can't predict the future as to how that would look like.
Right.
But yeah, I totally outside stuff could be done. In terms of like what I'm looking forward to, in terms of entertainment, I don't know. I don't know what's coming out next year that I can pinpoint to say I'm looking
We would
forward to
just
that.
love anything, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, just give me some more comic book movies.
I think so. My only thing about the future is I hope what they continue is I want them to make a hybrid of these panels. I love that they're doing this online stuff, but I want them to. So Hall H is usually broadcast. For those people who can't catch Hall H, you can actually catch video of Hall H at the convention in a hotel. I think it's like the Hilton, and you can watch all of Hall H virtually there.
Right.
I think they should continue that and just freaking post them online, or not even stream them online. Maybe just have whoever companies actually agree to stream them online or not. I think that should be something that's continued. Because if social distancing is still continuing, then I think that'd be a good way to sort of mitigate that. Yes, question, sir.
I think I agree. Do you think there should be a delay in terms of the streaming? So, example, let's say the new Spider-Man movie commercial trailer comes out in person at the panel at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Do you think that there should be an instantaneous, simultaneous stream to the public at the exact same time?
Yes.
Or do you think that there should be at least a delay of like a day or something?
No,
because
I don't care.
Okay.
I would say, just post it. Even if, like, say some companies, I would say post your trailer right before that. Just fuck it. Just drop the load on all of us.
Nice. Yeah. I was just wondering because I'm wondering if like some fans would say, well, then what's the point of being there?
I don't know about you, my friend, but I am done waiting for things after this.
Same here.
I'm like, just give it to me now. I'll pay however much. I don't give a fuck. Just give me everything.
You bring up a good point. Okay, so most of, if not all, pretty sure 100% of the Comic-Con at home stuff is free, right?
Yes.
Okay, would you say if the production value went up, right, they were able to nail it down, all the technical difficulties got ironed out, would you say, all right, I'm happy to pay X dollars per panel, or per ticket if you virtual ticket to watch all the panels?
I would say, and then that regards, I think it would be like more of a virtual badge, and then you use your virtual badge to access all the other streams. I
But
think
like,
that
would you be down for like that, or do you think nah, just make it free and just charge us the ads?
I would be down for that, and I would not be down for buying individual
Oh
panels.
no, yeah. Like maybe one virtual pass that gets you
Yeah, no,
like
I'm
exclusive
totally
content.
down for that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And especially if they send me something in the mail, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that would be cool, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's kind of all I had.
That is a great way to end. We have hopes for the future.
We do.
Keep it here at Geekin This. This is Tony and Peter saying the geeks are out there if you look for them.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Bye.